Welcome to how I used my NightOwl by Owl Paper B6 planner. As some of you know, this debuted in July. This was the first one. It launched mid-year of 2023, and I am almost through it. We're almost at the end of December. I have almost exactly however many days that are left in December, plus an extra 2 per week. This is what I will be moving into for the new year, the January through June 2024. And over here is one of the color choices for 2024 for the second half of the year. And this is the other color choice, which is a really warm apricot. I love this color. I was actually looking for a color like this in 2023, but I couldn't find one. So now we've got it. So we come to the index page, and this I use in 2 ways. One is the quickly capture a thought before it gets away. I was sitting with friends at lunch yesterday. We were talking about Colombia, coming trip in January to finish our adoption, and I wrote down some things to do and some things to take with on the trip, and I ran and I wrote Colombia travel 256. So that's one way. The other way, if you look at page 231, we knew we were having a travel call that day. So I sat down, and before the call started, I wrote 231 travel call. It was on November 10th. It was 3 pages of notes, and I wrote down before the call started, travel call, and some other tags, 231. So then also when I made this quick note about travel, I added it to the topic of travel call. So those are the 2 ways I use my index. This is my goal setting page. I made a life map years ago that I'm still working on, so I've honestly not redrawn it. I know a lot of you either will be new to goal setting or you will want to use the goal page. It was in the middle of the year for me, so I did not use this spread. I probably will in 2024 because it will be a new year. There are many things that I put in the blank pages at the back of this little journal that I could have put here, but it made more sense to keep them in the flow. This is my future log. It is 2024, so these books are 6-month books, as you can see. So I put anything that does not fall within that time frame in a future log, starting with January through June. I can always have a year at a time laid out in front of me, always, at all times, whether that's the middle of the year or at the end of the year. We have that whole yearly overview, because first the next 6 months, more of a zoomed in view, and then the 6 months after that, I can write down events and appointments and that kind of thing. This is plenty of space for me, everything from school and doctor. If it's not for you, you could always set up a future log in one of the blank pages at the back of the book. This used to be, or in 2023, it was actually a quarterly overview of the book. I immediately put washi tape over it and decided to make it into a future log. That is why you will find in 2024, we do not have this page with dates on it. We have this page blank, so you can just write future log and use it as a future log, or you can write happy memories or pictures of my dogs or kids or places I'd like to travel or the next 5 years of my life or whatever you want to do with this spread. I just love this Tomoe River crinkle sound. Ooh. Many of you are monthly calendar users. I am not. As you can see, put a sticker here and moved on. This, however, this is why I made the blank spread between the months. If you're a monthly calendar user or not, so many of us either like the classic bullet journaling style, of not drawing calendars but drawing days, which by that I mean like we'll look ahead a couple days like this, or you just need more room to plan your monthly goals. I love this spread. On the left, I started with July accomplishments, and I got that idea from Carla on Instagram, documenting the journey Carla Law. I started this and I adored it. It was really high level things, a little bit different from my morning gratitude list, where I'm just trying to think of any 3 things in the world that I'm grateful for, and it's often my cup of coffee and the color yellow and my bullet journal. Sometimes that's all I can do in the morning, or it's my husband, my daughter, and my other daughter, or it's my family and my coffee. That's what my morning gratitude looks like. This is different. This is more of a catalog, a journal, a log of things that were wins for that month. Like I won a blue ribbon at her first horse show. Mommy camp was amazing. Something I had planned for a long time to try to spend more time with my daughter. Being a working mother, nonetheless works from home, but still a lot of hats. This I'm not going to go into much. It was something I tried. If I ever use monthly calendars, it probably will be for some kind of tracker, like a reading log. Back to my August wins, some revenue, some sold out the 2023 planners, was a few days after down to 11 planners. I decided to move my habit tracker to the monthly section and it did not work out. Another blank sort of reading log. September Wins, the first one I thought it was. I read so many wonderful books. I wrote another 500 words in a project I'm working on. I like to point out this one, this little one that says wish list. I did not think we would be able to budget for dance lessons. I did not think it would work out. Another blank. October was a busy, emotional, up and down, highs and lows and wins and losses. I got to video chat with our daughter for the first time in a year and a half. This time I started something I know I'm going to do a few more times, and I started, because my habit tracker tends to get overwhelmed with habits, and I tend to get overwhelmed, and I tend to stop my habits when they go past 3 or 4. I decided instead to just keep a self-care log, and next to it keep a mood tracker. And this was very cool, and I saw some of those, you know, when I'm not doing self-care stuff, if this goes down. I noticed some high points after acupuncture and or Pilates. I also noticed Pilates after acupuncture. It's like it always happened. Habit stacking and habit loops are a powerful thing. December, this time I named it Joy. More good things that happened. I'm excited about this and the insight it gives me into myself and the self-awareness. So on to the week section, which is this, like this much of the planner. Much is the weekly section. This was the month and goals. I finally have this structure in this planner that I've been craving for 5 years, and now I get to play and come up with the sort of visual aesthetic that I want. I always do that by putting a lot on and then beginning to take that. So here is my weekly tasks, what I hope to get done in a week. And it isn't so much of a judgmental, I want to get this done in a week, but these are the next things I need to be looking at, and I can stare at them and prioritize. A little affirmation or quotes. My habit tracker, landing after 6 months in a place, I think, where I know what habits are the best for me to track right now. And there's 3 core habits that I always go back to when I get overwhelmed. Same, this was a better week. She got her first little horse show there. A little Bible verse here. Things to remember for horse camp. I have a routine where I look at my weekly at the beginning of every single day, and that comes along with these habits here that are Keto Coffee, Gratitude, and Soul Space, which is a little 15-minute mindfulness meditation app. When I hear the music, I calm down, I drink my coffee, I make my gratitude list, I stare at my week, and I start to make some notes. A wonderful week. Annika wanted to trace all the little things that happened in mommy camp that week. That brings us to the end of December. This brings me to how I used my dailies. So first, I have a couple days. I will show you a typical day layout will be for me, plus the other ways that this journal let me do more than that. The day my appointments and to do over here, those flow from my weekly. So I'll look at my weekly, and I will zero in on what is most important in my task list to do based on the appointments that are happening. There's a play coming up next week. If one of these tasks would be, you know, buy costume for the play, then I would prioritize them if it was getting near the end of the week. Just to give you an example of how easy this is, if you're new to bullet journaling, I just turned to a blank page on a new day. I start by writing the date, and I eyeball the center of the page, and it doesn't matter if it's off 1 or 2. And I make a little sun, and that is, I start my gratitude list. It's going to take up about this much space. It can go longer. Some days it does. And then over here, I start to put in, I glance at my week, and I start to put in those really important things I need to remember that day. It evolves into this. I'll always go down here and write reflections or memories. It ends up being pretty much the same content no matter what I do, because it'll be like a quote from a book I read that morning during my meditation time that I told you about in my habit tracker time, or something that happened that day. I'll mix my reflections and memories down here. Also called snapshots, visual picture of something. Exactly the same layout on the left. I just didn't write the word the day, gratitude, and reflection. So this is how I typically use a day. But these daily pages, since they're blank, they have so much more. I go to my index, find like care package 136. There are things that I put in my daughter's 16th birthday care package. And I didn't have to worry, oh no, if I do that, do I have to truncate the day then into this space down here? No. And put a photo in and you won't run out of pages.